It's a new week. It's a new week, so it's time to get our 2-card review going. We are still in the Galaxy's Most Wanted box, but we're now doing Rockets cards. So, as always, we're just doing a 2-card review. We talk about 2 of the cards in the pack as we go through all the hero packs and stuff. I'm hoping this week we can get through at least some of the Guardian stuff. We should be able to get decently far, which will be nice. But these are just kind of like my opinions and takes on this stuff and whatnot. So let's pop over and go check out these cards. All right, really quick, for those that don't know, I do have all this stuff in a podcast format, so you can listen to this on the podcast, wherever your favorite podcast is to listen to. A lot of people have been choosing to listen to it that way, and same with the other videos that are basically like this, talking head videos. But yeah, you can check them all on whatever your favorite podcast player is. And if you want to support this channel, consider scrolling down below, checking out the join button to become a member. It starts at 99 cents. All that stuff really helps. We really appreciate it and supports this channel greatly. All right, let's talk about our first card. So the very first one is Bug. This is our an ally, an aggression ally. This is technically in Rocket's deck, but it's in the Guardian's Most Wanted box, but in Rocket's deck officially. But Bug is a 2-cost ally, aggression, a 1/1/2 stat line. Each threat and attack has 1 consequential damage, and hero response: after your hero makes a basic attack, heal 1 damage from Bug, which was a pretty interesting card when it first came out, because you can just kind of keep doing basic damage or basic attacks with your hero and keep Bug around in perpetuity, right? Just, all right, he can thwart 1, he can attack 1, whatever it may be. You can also use cards to start jacking up his like attack stats or his life or whatever it may be, so he lasts a little bit longer and then attack over and over. If you have a ready up hero, so if you're able to also give him extra life, right? You put like a whatever, one of those, like, make them an honorary Avenger or whatever, or honorary X-Men, whatever you're playing with. You throw one of those cards on there so he gets a little bit more life. So you let him get 2 damage. Then ready up heroes can make a basic attack, ready up, basic attack. If you do that, there's no limit to the amount that he can heal, so you can actually do it multiple times if you so choose. So I've seen people, especially in multiplayer games, really Voltron build out Bug, and all that means is they put a lot of attachments or upgrades onto him to make him incredibly strong and make him like as good as a hero, right? Basically is the rough idea. So that is a strategy you could do. For solo, I don't mind Bug. There are some good upgrade attachments in aggression. Like, I think it's like Energy Spear or whatever. We'll probably get into it later, where you can give him an extra attack or whatever. If there's ways to give him extra life, it's even better. It's not a bad strategy. It's not my favorite, though. I mean, I do like that it has like a natural heal up progression to it. My issue is with a lot of times when I'm playing aggression builds, my hero isn't always attacking. Now, obviously, with like Valkyrie or maybe Phoenix later in the game, they are, but a lot of times the hero themselves would be good at like thwarting or defending. So I'm doing something different than attacking because the attack cards are so good. Again, that's not all the time. That's just a thing I've noticed with myself as a player. Maybe you're completely different. So it's just important to know, are you going to be exhausting to attack with your hero? If so, then maybe Bug makes sense if you want to build him out and like build around him. I'm not big into Voltron builds. Like, I'm not against them per se, but I don't do them a ton, right? And Bug probably isn't my first choice to Voltron build around. Now, again, if you want to do it for aggression, he's definitely a candidate. I would almost still rather do it with Wolverine at this point, but Wolverine doesn't come out till much later. So, you know, I kind of get the argument against that too. So anyway, Bug's an option. I don't mind him, especially for a Guardian ally. I think he's fine. I think he's cheap, and cheap can be good, but he's not one I do a ton with anymore. So that is Bug, our first card. Our second card is Looking for Trouble. It's a 0-cost aggression event, a thwart card. Hero action: thwart. Discard cards on the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion. Put that minion into play, engage with you, cost arrow. Remove 3 threat from the main scheme. I don't really like this card. It's for several reasons. One is because of how the cost arrow works. If you discard from the top of the encounter deck and you don't put in a minion, you don't keep discarding on the new, like, you don't like reshuffle a deck and keep discarding. You didn't do the card and you ran out of cards to discard, so thus the card doesn't do anything. So not only did you cycle through the entire deck and get, you know, nothing from it, you don't get to remove 3 threat because it doesn't count because you didn't discard minion, you didn't do the cost. But now you went through the entire deck and there's an acceleration icon on the main scheme now. So I don't like it for that reason. I also don't like it because you're only removing threat from the main scheme. Early on in the game, this made more sense. Aggression was still having a hard time removing threat from places. It's a bit easier now, especially with basic allies being as powerful as they are at removing threat. Just lean into them at this point. But early on aggression, this card made sense, in my opinion, because it wasn't terrible to be able to remove threat from the main scheme. But now we have more side schemes, we have player side schemes, all that fun stuff. Now, that's the argument against that card. The argument for that card is there are a lot of minion slaying builds out there, right? If you're trying to get a bunch of minions out there because you're Valkyrie and you can easily demolish every single one of them, or if you're doing cards where like Bring It or whatever lets you draw cards based on the amount of minions you're engaged with, or if you just have a card that can clear all the minions on the board and attack the villain as well, or whatever, like a die bomb or something like that, or there's certain hero cards like Thor and Captain America that could do stuff. Maybe you have the right card to do it, and it still makes sense in that way, but it has to be really built like for that, right? Like I wouldn't casually put in Looking for Trouble for just as a threat removal card for a main scheme. I don't think it makes 100% sense there. If I have a hero where they are really leaning into the minion destroying, build archetype, and there's a lot of minions or a fair amount of minions in the deck, and I know I'm going to draw a minion, then yes, this makes more sense. And then yes, I'm willing to lean into that. But again, this made sense in Galaxy's Most Wanted box. It doesn't make as much sense anymore. Again, that's not to say the card's completely useless, because there are times to use it, but I feel like it's a lot fewer. Like I'd rather just put Professor X in my deck than this card. Like I get this is a 0 cost event, but there, in my mind, there's additional costs there of bringing in a minion and now having to do something to take out that minion so that I'm not totally like, getting destroyed by them. I'd rather pay the 3 costs to put X in there, remove the same amount of threat from whatever I want, plus I get a blocker at the end of it. So I'd rather do that. And then, also confuse the villain or stun a minion. So like that to me is just in my mind a higher value. Now I know people argue like, well, Looking for Trouble is actually cheaper, and what, like, value wise to me, especially as a solo player, I'd rather get a Professor X. But if you're doing a minion slaying build, I 100% understand Looking for Trouble, and it absolutely makes sense in that regard. All right, so as always, let me know your thoughts of these 2 cards down below, Bug and Looking for Trouble. Hopefully your week is starting off right. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, all that fun stuff. I really appreciate it. I'll see you all next time.